Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. See, folks are joining. It's just 1 o'clock Eastern here. I'm on the East Coast, New York, but I'm excited to have all of our attendees with us. Thank you for joining everyone so far. We are here with the amazing team at No Typical Moments to learn about ethical AI for competitive advantage and innovation. So it's a really important topic these days. So I'm so glad you're taking time out of your day to learn more about ethical AI. Just in terms of like housekeeping, I'll just do a quick housekeeping and then I'll do it again later for folks joining. This webinar is being recorded. So you'll have access to the webinar recording as well as the slide deck after. So yeah, just enjoy the webinar. And in the meantime, I'd love to open up the chat, just welcoming everyone. And if you'd like, you can chat us in your name and your organization and where you're from. And yeah, just wanted to welcome everyone. So yeah, kick off the chat if you are so brave. And we'll be starting in just a few minutes. We want to give everybody time to join, maybe starting in about 5 minutes or so. Hi, Daniel, all the way up in Canada. Thanks for joining us today. Hello, Mercy with RHS Cambridge High School in Kenya, across the globe. Hi, Sharon, and welcome everyone. It's just a couple minutes after 1. Today we are joined by No Typical Moments crew. I'm so excited to welcome them. So Andrew is the founder and CEO of No Typical Moments, which is a digital marketing agency. And this No Typical Moments has truly taken AI implementation by the reins. So I am very excited to hear what Andrew and his team has to say. Christian is a fractional CMO at No Typical Moments. And so he's been implementing AI in his marketing strategies. So looking forward to his findings, as well as Chris Paluta, another fractional CMO and strategist at No Typical Moments. And she has just a wealth of knowledge with all the AI tools out there. So I am super excited. If you have any questions for our incredible speakers today, feel free to drop in your questions in the Q&A panel or even the chat. But if you put in the Q&A, we'll be sure, it won't get lost in the shuffle. So that's a sure bet place to put it. And I'm just going to breeze through a little bit about CauseVox in case anybody's new to us. So CauseVox is a digital fundraising platform, and we help to make fundraising easy. It's pretty much as simple as that. We give you all the tools you need, your fundraising site or donation form, and we make sure all of it is mobile optimized for today's donors. We also offer hands-on support and onboarding with real live people. So we walk you through the process of setting up your campaign, as well as providing those best practice solutions for you. And we also offer top-rated fundraising education in the form of guides, templates, webinars like today's, and also other courses. So again, just in summary, we replace any outdated or clunky software, maybe like outdated PayPal buttons on your website, and we help to optimize getting you all of your dollars in online, not letting you miss any of your donations through our mobile optimized donation forms. And we help you take pledges and do crowdfunding, event ticketing, and peer-to-peer all in one place. We also have several mobile wallet options, including Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, PayPal, and ACH bank transfer. So that's definitely beneficial for your recurring and pledge gifts. And we help you sell tickets and peer-to-peer fundraising all at the same time. So pretty much you can do, any use case you could think for giving days or DIY projects or annual campaigns, capital campaigns. You can put everything all under one roof with CauseVox, and we give you a really easy, streamlined approach. If you want a demo, you can schedule a demo with us. We have a pre-recorded demo. It's only, I think it's like 13 minutes, or you can book one with me. We can talk one-on-one of how CauseVox can help your organization raise funds. And then on top of that, you'll want to subscribe to our blog. We do send out free resources every week, and you can get scheduled for your next webinar with CauseVox that way. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that No Typical Moments can take it away. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Jenna. So it is great to virtually see and meet everyone. We are very excited to talk to you today about AI, specifically ethical AI, and we're going to be taking the lens as well through some really practical application of how you can be utilizing this through ChatGPT and Midjourney. I just want to start off and share a little bit about No Typical Moments so you have some more context on who we are, what we're all about. And this is, a fancy mission statement we came up with. Chris Dion, who's here today, helped us construct this. And what we say is for growth stage organizations, NTM is a growth marketing agency that enters your business at the inflection point when you're ready to scale. Our deep bench of marketing experts in online education becomes a natural extension of your internal team, which enables you to reach 7+ figures with strategic and tactical implementation without the headache of the hiring process. NTM applies its impact with profit methodology with a proven track record of success for 10 years. And I'm Andrew Gottlieb. I'm the CEO and founder of the organization. And as you can see here, this is what we're going to run through today. Like I mentioned, for a minute, we're going to talk about ethics in AI, which is a hot topic of how we can be using this within the law, which is still a little bit undefined, and using it with integrity for your purpose-driven organization, using it for competitive research, implementation for any advertising campaigns. And at the end, we're going to share a little bit about our AI pilot program. That's going to be a very small fraction of this. We're going to follow up with some more information. We really want this to be content-driven and do a live Q&A for everyone. So we want you to treat us like we're in Shark Tank, ask all the questions that you have. So with all this being said, I'm going to pass this over to Chris Dion to start up the ethics portion of our conversation.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Jenna. And to everybody that's listening and watching, there is so much content to be provided in this topic that it's impossible to talk about it in 30 minutes, an hour, or even all day. So we're going to pack as much as we can. I'm going to talk fast. I'm going to present first for maybe 10, 15 minutes and then hand over to Chris Paluta to continue on. So I'm going to go fast. If there's something you want to dig in deeper, ask us at the tail end, or email us. We don't mind discussing more with you at another time. Okay, ethics in AI. I'm going to just talk quickly about background issues, the AI systems, ethical issues, accuracy, do's and don'ts, rights and terms, and getting ahead of the law. There is a website called There's an AI for that. It tracks how many new AI systems are launched every day. When I did this presentation 3 weeks ago, where there are 6,405 AI systems, I looked it up today and it was 8,200. That's an extra 2,000 in 2 weeks. Okay, so there's so many AI systems, and it's impossible to know them all. We're going to talk about LLM language models. ChatGPT and Bard are the two we're going to mention today, and then Midjourney for imagery. Ethical issues. Two things. AI using for nefarious purposes, and then the other part that's really important to know is confidentiality. Yes, people can use AI to do deceiving things. For thieves spamming, stealing your money out of your bank account, political, like pretending somebody said something that they didn't and making it look real, using something called algo speak. That's how nefarious people use language models. In other words, Google and OpenAI put bumpers or rules to prevent people from using AI for nefarious purposes. So there's words that are looked for, right? But people have figured out how to get around those words. So instead of saying the word dead, people use the word unalive. Instead of using the word pandemic, they use the word Panda Express. That's how they get around the AI systems. So Google and OpenAI are constantly trying to stay ahead of those individuals. The other thing that we also have to know, and there's large organizations tackling this right now, is mimicking others. Right now, there's an issue where a company can call you, listen to your voice, take your voice, automatically transpose it, and make you say something, right? And then they'll have an outbound phone call your mom, and it says, "Hi, this is Chris. It's a long time. Hey, I'm just leaving you a voicemail. Can you send me some money?" Mimicking people. That's how people are using AI for nefarious purposes, okay? Just want to set the stage for that. But the thing that may concern you most is confidentiality. A lot of these open AI systems or AI systems are open, meaning they're gathering your information and they're making it public. So if you're in healthcare, government contractors, or financial, a lot of companies in those worlds are like banning the use of some of these AI systems. Or I'll show you how to get around that and make sure that your confidentiality is protected. Okay, talking about accuracy, which is always an issue. You cannot blame AI on it being wrong. If it is wrong, you are wrong. It's your responsibility to make sure that the information coming out of AI is correct. There are three things you can do. Number one is you can ask AI to provide you reference URLs for everything that it states as fact, right? And then you can check that. In Bard's AI system, there's actually a link to go and check those right away in Google. But just because they provide those URLs and references doesn't mean it's correct. You still have to check it. Something else you can do is you can ask the AI system, is everything that you provided me correct and factual? Sometimes it'll provide an answer back with, no, I did not check my information. Would you like me to? Or something like that, right? The last but not least, and the most important, is check it yourself. If you're providing facts in your that are provided by your AI system, make sure to check it. The AI systems are supposedly getting better and more accurate, but you can never be too cautious. If you are presenting some information, you are responsible for it. As a matter of fact, in the terms and conditions in the agreements, when you sign up to use ChatGPT or Midjourney, I want to point this out. In ChatGPT terms of use, it says here, if you do not want your non-API content used to improve services, you can opt out by filling this form. In other words, what happens is if you provide any content to chat, it now has that in public view. If you do not want that in public view, there's a form to fill out to block it. Pretty cool, huh? A lot of people don't know that. But it says here clearly, if you do not want to share sensitive information in a conversation with chat. By the way, one of the things that ChatGPT does well is you can upload your financial data into it, and it does a great job at forecasting sales or revenues or donors, right? But if you do that, fill out this form so it doesn't share your information. With Midjourney, take a look at how they word it. I think it's funny. If you knowingly infringe, oh, say Midjourney is uploading images and then creating new images, right? If you knowingly infringe on somebody else's intellectual property and that costs us money, we're going to come find you and collect that money from you. We might also do some other stuff, like try to get a court to make you pay our attorney's fees. Don't do it. So the concept is that if you upload an image that you do not own into Midjourney, that's a no-no, right? Okay, so when you do ask for images out of Midjourney, you might get images like this on the left. None of these people on the left are real. They're all made up by Midjourney, right? So once Midjourney creates those images, do you own them? Number one. And then if you do own them, do you need to give credit to Midjourney? Well, who do you give credit to, right? So the answer to that is simple. If you have a paid subscription to Midjourney, you own the image. If you do not have the paid subscription, you do not own the image. Okay, so that's number one. You own these images. So it's a quick and easy way to get a lot of images, a lot less expensive than paying another photo sharing site. Then the question is it deceptive if you are suggesting or claiming that the images are real. It's a really good question, and there's no legal necessarily answer to that. So it's up to you on how you approach it. Some companies are putting something like this either in their terms and conditions or somewhere on the site. Images generated by us using Midjourney, or somewhere added saying sometimes we generate images generated by Midjourney or other AI systems. I make this point down here below. We are beyond the laws. The laws are being formed now. Most of the laws are being formed based off of lawsuits. Somebody sues Midjourney, then then the courts decide, and now all of a sudden there's a law. Don't be in that lawsuit though. That's no fun. So here's our do's and don'ts for this. Number one, give credit where credit is due. I think it's okay to give credit to Midjourney or something else when you're using it. If you are uploading somebody else's image and then modifying it, ask for permission to modify their image first. I think that's just an ethical thing to do. And then share with them the result of your modification of their image. And the other big do is check the facts. That's your responsibility. Don't upload customer information into AI unless you use the protected AI API plugin or you fill out the form. Okay. Don't version the images unless you're given permission or you give credit to do. Pretty simple. Okay, so something else. So we talked about a little bit of ethics. I want to talk about some innovation. Most of the reason for using these AI systems is that you're going to generate content a lot faster than you've ever done before. So I'm just going to hop right over here. You're going to generate blogs, SEO content, website content, PR articles, case studies, use cases, emails, proposals, sales scripts. All of this can be done at a fraction of the time that you've done in the past, right? So that's your primary reason for doing this. Some people are saying, well, I also can save money by spending less money on a copywriter or a graphic designer. That may be true, but a lot of our clients are not cutting back on the copywriter and graphic artist. Instead, they're just generating more content, which helps them sell more or get more donors. Another thing, though, you can use it for is 24/7 customer service. There are a slew of AI customer service tools that allow you to provide much more advanced customer service than even 3 years ago. It does everything from providing 24/7 customer support to understanding the sentiment of the person asking a question in your chat. And if it's heavily negative and angry, it can triage that and send it to a real person versus somebody who seems to be pleasant and happy. It'll answer it, for example. The other thing it does, it has immediately multilingual. You can have 30 languages in your chat in an instant, for example. And there are a slew of services to do this. This is just a few. Zendesk is probably one of the leaders, and Twilio and LivePerson, but there are plenty of others that offer these kind of customer service, AI customer service tools. Okay.
Chris, if I can interject for 1 second, I'll give another quick use case to the customer service. Is we were trying to I don't want to say upsell, but we had a client who wanted to do stuff that was out of scope for us, and we were confused with how to respond to a very direct email from them. So we used ChatGPT to negotiate for us, more or less, and come up with the email script using a specific tone of voice that we felt like would be matched by the client and would resonate with them. And then they approved our new scope. So it can be very helpful.
Nice. Thank you, Andrew. Something else to share, and then I'm going to hand this over to Chris. These are some things that you can do in ChatGPT or Bard that are help you with strategic brainstorming for your company. You can type in, this is my favorite, run a SWOT analysis on, and you can just type in your website URL. So for example, here, I said, run a SWOT analysis on Zoom. And this is what it generated right here. These are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for Zoom. You can run that on your company. You can run that on your competitors' companies. You can even ask it, find the gap using a SWOT analysis between myself, our company, and a competitor. You can ask for the unique value proposition of each of your competitors. You can ask what content is popular for your website. You can ask what's popular for your competitors' websites. You can ask what blog topics you think the readers of your website are looking for. You can even ask it, where do you think I should advertise? Think of those strategic kind of questions, type it in, and see what kind of responses you get. Doesn't mean you have to accept them. These are brainstorming questions too. Take those, drop it in Google Doc, and start modifying and optimizing yourself. This kind of work used to take days. Now you're probably going to spend an hour getting seated for your work, and then you can spend a few more hours optimizing it afterwards. So those are just a few ideas. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Chris for next tab.
Thanks, Chris. Let's see. Let's go to the next slide, if you don't mind. Okay, so again, now we're going to dive more into how do you create a campaign? How do you, like Chris was saying, how do you go faster with this? So one of the places, if you're sitting there and you've got a campaign and you not sure where to start, you can actually ask AI. It's a great brainstorming partner, like Chris was mentioning. So this was one where we're looking for competitive data. So we wanted to really figure out where to start in terms of messaging and that type of thing. So went into Bard and asked for competitive data. And so it gives you some ideas for what it's willing to do, what it has access to. So this, in this case, course titles and descriptions was something that I would have found useful. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so once, sorry, I'm moving there's something popping up in my screen. I have to move that so I can see. So competitive research, looking at these titles was really helpful. So I said, hey, can you consolidate these titles and descriptions so that I have like a really quick way to go through them? And it went ahead and did that. Let's take a look at the next slide. And then I wanted to know, I'm like, let's layer to this. Let's go ahead and find out which company this is. So it added the companies, and you can see on the bottom right, there's that export to sheets. So let's say you're doing this with another person. All this data can get exported into sheets. So you have really quick at your fingertip access, and you can click on the links that's in the sheets. It's got the companies. Now it's 2 minutes later, and you've got a full list of all the different competitive companies with the course titles that would have taken hours before. And then I want to go to the next level, which is, hey, what are the Instagram accounts for those companies that are doing webinars on improving relationships? Because now we can start to dig in how many people are really following them. This is really validating that information. And so again, without me having to go over and check each one, it gives you how many followers, and then it gives you links. So if you do, when you do validate them, it's just a quick link. It's not Googling what those links are and then putting them in one by one. So you can see where this time savings is coming in. Oh yeah, you're right, Chris. Go next slide. Let's see. And then I wanted to go beyond Instagram, YouTube. Let's take a look at YouTube. And again, it adds all the information from YouTube. So you can see, you can, as you get one idea, it kind of spawns your ideas like, oh, where else can I look? And then you just add that layer to it. And let's go to the next. Okay, and then if you guys are curious after, this is actually what that Bard sheet ends up looking like. And there's some countries that don't have access to Bard, but if you make one of these sheets, everyone that has access to that sheet can see it. So it's a way to share with your partners in Canada or Mexico or Europe or wherever you have partners that don't have access to it yet. All right, let's look at the next slide. Okay, so now let's say you've identified these target audiences, which is what that background research was. Now you have the target audience, which is part of what you need to identify what verbiage you want when you're having AI build your ads. So let's go to that next slide. So one of the things you want to do is make sure that the AI isn't sounding like an AI. And there's a couple ways you do it, but one of the things every time I have anything written with AI, I go back after and I change things around and add that human touch. And you'll want to do that too, so that there's this resistance now. If someone immediately knows something's written by AI, they kind of shut off to it. So this is really important that at the end you add your human touch. Okay, so for these samples, I used ChatGPT and 4 and Bard, and then the paid version of Midjourney, which is that image software. And then I then own those images, which is great. And then you'll see that you get different results every time you do it. That's how they keep everyone fresh and ownable. So when you're using ChatGPT or Bard for ad creation, you really want to feed in that information, that background information, what you're trying to accomplish. They can give you back hooks, and then you can tell it what you like, what you don't like. And every time you give it more information about what you like and what you don't like, it improves. So you kind of want to keep that all in the same thread. So here's the prompt used for copywriting an ad. So I could say, provide 3 variations. You can have whatever number, but you want to give it more than one because you want to see multiple variations when you're looking at it. For the ad component and then you can say if this is LinkedIn, if this is Facebook, whatever it is, most of the AI platforms already know that, okay, then that means I have 100 characters or I have 5 sentences, whatever the criteria is. If you just put the ad platform in, it will conform to it. And then you set the ad for a company and then you give some information about the product services, or you can give that landing page and it can go and it can pull the information. And then you ask it for what you want. So your hook, your headline, descriptive copy. And then this tone is one of the elements that usually keeps what you get back from it to not sound like AI. So for instance, Dan Kennedy is a famous copywriter for direct marketing. We end up using his tone and voice a lot. What we get back then is like clear, it's direct, it's pointing people to a very specific act. So there's different ones you can use though. Let's say you want something that's a little more intellectual and a little more fact-based. Maybe you'll say Malcolm Gladwell. So that tone and voice is an important piece to this. So again, this is a sample one that we did, which was 3 variations of the following ad components for a Facebook ad for this product. So AI sees what that product is. I'm asking specifically for hook, headline, descriptive copy, and I mentioned Dan Kennedy and Daniel Pink combination for that voice. That way I'm getting a little more adjectives versus the Dan Kennedy very strict and to the point. So the initial result that came back was pretty good, but then I wanted to refine it even further. So what I asked for is 5 more prompts of the second sentence because I liked the first sentence, and then adding more powerful and active language. So you can add, like, let's say you want it to be more clear, or if you want it to be more pointed towards a specific audience. So it's a great place to start and keep revising with AI until you get pretty much what you want. Okay, now we're going to move over to the images that you want to see in conjunction with that ad. So you're going to go into Midjourney, you're going to define what you want to see. So you might say, I need an image of a woman in her 50s that is looking at a website of a charity, something like that. And then you're going to say your parameters. So you need this to be a 3:5 aspect ratio. I want this to look photorealistic. I want it to be a vantage point, an aerial vantage point looking over her shoulder onto the screen. And then you're going to do the same thing with review and optimize, and then adding a sketch or reference image if needed. And we'll talk more about that. So here's another example of a prompt. So a woman tapping acupressure points on her face while looking stressed. Cinematic is another word that means realistic. When you ask for it to be cinematic, usually it's a little bit crisper image, and it's really defined highlights and lowlights. So it's great for websites. It's great if you're going to use it in a video. And then an aspect ratio. So depending if you're going to use a square, if you want it panoramic, or if you want it however you need it for the space you're going to put it. Here's some parameters. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you'll get this after, so you can use these. Some interesting ones that you might use: monochromatic, which keeps colors within that same scope, and then wide angle lens. Some of those will help you out to get exactly what you want. Also, negative prompting is important. So if you keep getting an image that there's something in it that you don't like, you can say no, no trees in this image, no computer in this image, whatever it is that you want to leave out, then it'll stop adding that into that image. So here's an example of how you can refine with a sketch or reference image. There was a particular feel we were trying to get for a client, but what I was putting in word-wise to Midjourney wasn't working. So I just drew this little doodle, which you can see it's very simple. Anyone can do it. It is not taking any artistic skill. And then I added the prompt, image of a line, drawing of a woman exhaling the winds of change. And so that little sketch becomes an image that is much more effective. Now you want to look at that. So you can see how something really simple, along with the right words, can turn into an image that you can use for social media or you can use on your website. So we're going to open up to questions, I believe, pretty soon here.
Yes. Before we do that, Jenna, if you have the link available to put in the chat for our AI pilot program, really we want to work with organizations of practical use cases of how AI can be incorporated into your business, from prompt engineering to all the things we're going through to today. So Jenna, if you have that, you can post it there. We'll also follow up in an email with the link again. And we can discuss in more detail if we feel like it would be a good fit. But would love to open up to some questions for the remainder of our time today.
I see one in here, which is for ad copy to plagiarism issue. So you definitely want to run it through some plagiarism checkers and make sure that it's not too close. So Grammarly, for example, has a free plagiarism checker that is really effective. Now, if you get something from AI and it's not showing up as plagiarism elsewhere, it's fine to use. You're not plagiarizing it by using what AI has provided for you. That is an allowable use of AI. Again, I always suggest going back and humanizing it so it has your own touch to it. And then I see another one that is, what are some AI tools you suggest? So the ones we mentioned, I love Bard because it has those links to validate the information that you're getting. There's also, let's say you've got some people who are super excited about your charity or your cause, and you're not sure how to create an ad from that. There's an AI tool called Descript, which is DE in the word script, and it creates transcripts. So if you have these testimonials, it'll create a transcript, and you can go in and you can modify that transcript, and you can end up with some amazing, really easy ads out of that. So that's one that I really.
When you say modify the transcript, when you modify the words, it automatically modifies the video?
Yeah, so it will cut out, like, let's say you're modifying the script and you're pulling out a chunk because you loved what they said at the beginning and what they said at the end, and then maybe they rambled for a while in the middle or something. So you could just sort of, if you cut that out of the transcript there, it pulls it out from the video too. So it's like a textual way to edit a video. It's very cool.
And we've also heard some people rave about Bucket.io, which is Ray Levesque's company. So Ray Levesque is famous for figuring out how to ask questions that will eventually lead to a conversion. And his AI system will supposedly automatically figure out how to ask the question and in what order in order to optimize for conversions.
And
those are some new things coming up.
And especially for what you all are doing, because Ryan Levesque created that whole ask method, and it's about quizzes, like Chris was mentioning. And if you ask the right quiz questions and assessment questions, that's such a great free lead magnet way to get people into your email list. And so that tool looks just phenomenal. see. I'm looking at the key.
Also, there's a lot of things happening in the AI world every day. And of course, I don't know if everybody saw the news with ChatGPT coming out. It's adding voice to it now. And also they took it away and they added it back in, where before you were not allowed to just type in a URL and it was old data. Now you can type in URLs again and it's newer data. So every day things like that are changing. So we were starting to move from ChatGPT over to Bard because Bard had newer, better data and easier to use. Now Chat is like, oh, we better catch up to Bard again. So they're going back and forth.
Let's see. Ways AI could be used for the nonprofit sector. So I think there's so many ways, much like the things we just mentioned. You can also, if you're looking for government grants, things like that, it can help search for those for you as well. You could segment. So let's say you have a two-sided nonprofit where you've got the donations you're looking for, but then you're also looking for the specific people that you're trying to help. The fact that you can create things faster and specific for them, so you can have more content for your landing page, more blog articles that are relevant to the people you're trying to help or the people you want to donate. That, like, the more you do that's creating those type of things, then the more people that are coming in on SEO, because now you have content that they want to read or content that they want to see. So I would just say the image creation, the copy, all of that creation is really helpful, particularly for nonprofits.
And if you have a Google grant, anyone who here, if you're not familiar with that, you essentially get free advertising money from Google. You could use ChatGPT to write all of that copy for your advertising campaigns. And it can give you so many different variations to just continue to be testing each month with the free money Google allocates.
Something else. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say another thing that Chris was just showing me not long ago is the AI system in Canva is pretty good. So you can ask inside Canva, you can ask it, provide me, 25 post ideas based off of XYZ. And then it'll give you the ideas. And then it will automatically place them into a template for your posting. So you don't have to do multiple steps. There's so much more that it can do than that, but that's just something within the AI system in Canva.
One other idea I had before we get to Daniel's question is you could use any of these systems to give you some research on Giving Tuesday strategies. I think that would be, I've never done that, but I'm sure you can see, what are other players in the space doing? What are some trending topics heading into Giving Tuesday in a few months? I think it would be a good creative problem solver for you.
It's also great at adding to your keywords list. So you were mentioning, Andrew, the Google ad grants, because a lot of the companies, maybe they're spending $5,000 of the $10,000, and it's just a waste of $5,000 because it just goes away. It's not like it accumulates. So if you ask it for different channels, different keywords, things you haven't thought of, it often supplies some great ideas that are new. Let's see, Daniel's. Oh, yes. A composite story can be created with AI. Actually, I've done that before with different I've put in different testimonials. This is where you want to make sure you filled out that form that Chris put the link to at the beginning. So you can put in the different stories and then have it spit back out a couple versions of a composite story. It's actually really good at that. And you can talk about what tone you want it to be in, and it'll get pretty close without too much adjustment after.
Something else that's also, it's just kind of fun to play with. I kind of was presenting that in the strategic part, but you can ask, depending on the size of your website and how big your nonprofit is, you can ask Chat, what are the personas of the individuals visiting my site? You can ask it to, create the SWOT analysis. You can ask it, what is the tone and style of copy on my site? Instead of you telling Chat, you can ask it, what is it? What is my tone and style? It might actually be a better descriptor than what you already have. If you don't even have one, you can generate your own tone and style, like brand guidelines you can generate based off of chat giving you guidance on that.
There's another question from Michael, which says, will the information in the thread stay usable over time as long as the thread is not deleted? Yes, I have found that to be true. I have some threads that go back 9 months that are still usable. I might add my own updates, but I have like if I'm doing an ad campaign for someone, that's their own thread, and I keep it there and I keep it active because it's learning what I'm saying I like, what I don't like. So those threads are important, and I have a lot of threads in my chat GPT and my Bard, but they are really useful.
Any other questions from anyone here who's still alive?
Yes, still live. Still have a few minutes in case anybody wants to ask any additional questions. I do want to also note, like, as Andrew had mentioned, keeping in mind the giving season that we're approaching, Giving Tuesday is coming up, year end is coming up. We actually had a bit of a collaboration between CauseVox and No Typical Moments. So if you want to take advantage of having some templates already created for you, CauseVox created this little toolkit. You can just download a copy, and No Typical Moments has some insights in there as well. They were one of our partners for this project. So you might want to, if you haven't already, you can download that as a resource. And we actually use some ChatGPT at CauseVox a lot of the time just to help our own content. I just wanted to pass that along to y'all. Nicole, the webinar will be available after on demand, yes. If anybody has any other questions for Andrew, Chris, or Chris, Amanda, can you share some ways you use AI in your personal life? That's a great question.
I think this one's kind of funny. Just for fun, because Chris and I are good friends as well, I made him a coloring page of his partner so that he could give it to her, they could color it. There's so many ways. What were you going to say, Jenna?
No, I said that's amazing. One of my friends asked me if I could, or I told her I had a dream of us, and she's like, you should put that into AI and it should create an image for us. I think that's so fun.
It's so fun. Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
No, you go. I was going to share my personal thing, but continue your thought.
I was saying there's a foundation that I do some volunteer work with, and it's about creativity and bringing the world together. And so there's the founder of that. She and I will have like an idea in the morning, and we'll both be in Midjourney, and then we'll be sharing the different images that come out from that. And then it sparks great things for the foundation too, which is fun. It's really interesting to see what those images can spawn for people.
Yeah, it looks like Lisa had another great question. How do you get your team on board using AI? It looks like her team is really resistant. That's a great question.
So
I'll share from like a CEO's perspective, and then Chris, if you want to share as well. So I would say, giving people the safety within our business model that I'm not replacing you with robots. And this is supposed to allow you to be better at your job and more productive. It's not intended to replace you. And really just empowering people, when they ask me questions, it's like, no, what does ChatGPT say? So from a leader perspective, training myself to not solve other people's problems for them, and even encourage them to like, what does ChatGPT say? Just run with that. That's for me. And just creating a safe space as an organization and culture that we're innovative. We want to be, the best marketing agency we can, and we need to stay atop of trends that are emerging. And this isn't something, we created. Like AI is moving at lightning speed, whether we want it or not. It's just a matter of we jump on the wave that's approaching.
And then to piggyback off of what Andrew was saying, like you definitely want to assure them that their jobs are not at risk. But I think it's also find out why they're resistant. Are they resistant because they don't know how to use it and they're scared to figure it out? And so if it is that they just don't know how, you can find webinars like this, or you can you can have different assets that help them learn how to use it, and then you can remind them that that's all great stuff for them, right? If they learn how to use AI, that's a skill that they get to take with them in their personal life, wherever they go, if they go somewhere else at some point. So that just sort of listening to what their resistance is from and then trying to address that is also helpful.
I'll give another quick example. It's so I'm 34, so I was on the wave of Facebook coming out when I was in high school, and that was when Facebook was the cool thing to do. And parents back then, were like, "Why are you on social media? Facebook is dumb. Like, protect your identity, like all those things." And now, fast forward 15 years, and our parents are the only ones on Facebook now. So sometimes, in terms of kind of market adoption, there's that Moore's law. I think it's called Moore's law curve of how quick people are. So anyone who's using AI right now is very much kind of before the crossing of the chasm model. So those people over here, they're eventually AI is just going to be incorporated into all of our daily lives. It just hasn't hit them front and center like a lot of other people who might be in a more tech-centered work.
I see Nicole's question. The main question would be where and how do you start? And I think that the easiest place to start is really ChatGPT and asking it simple questions like, how can you help me get donors? How can you help me write an email to donors? How can you help me? If you start to question it, that can be a great way to like build that first lack of resistance to it. And then you can start digging into some more of the tools. And we have some, I think we have some NTM videos that can help with that. And we can send over some links to videos that are helpful for how to get started with it too.
I would even say that how to get started is the literal go to YouTube and just type in how to use AI and just see what are the most viewed videos on the topic. I think that's just an even simpler starting point of just consume content because there's endless amount right now.
I also have some clients, or we have some clients that have started with blogs. So, it was just a struggle for them to get one blog a month out. And so they wanted to make that easier. Now they're up to 3 blogs a month with no additional time spent. And they just simply started with that. And then they're like, got used to that. And they're like, oh, now let's try it with emails. Oh, now let's try it with ads. Oh, now let's try it with, but they just started with the blogs first.
And didn't they, once they got comfortable, start adding making imagery for the blogs too? So first it was just the content of the blogs, and then it was like, oh, let's create some really cool images, because God, those good images, people love to share things with beautiful imagery.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Rob, our CEO, also did like an introduction to ChatGPT just for nonprofit fundraising, and that idea of how to prompt ChatGPT to get you the results that you're looking for. I'm just going to leave the webinar on demand here, and then if No Typical Moments reaches out to you guys, I'm sure they can share some of their existing other webinars that they can link to as well, but that can be helpful. Just being specific, I guess, is what I've learned is key. The more specific you can prompt ChatGPT, the better the result. I think the content creation, I think, is really helpful in using chat. Any other last question? Oh, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I know there's a client who just got an awesome grant, right? And then there's voting for for a second part of the grant, where if more people vote for them, then they get this extra part of the grant. So they're like, how do we use AI for this? And and I'm like, well, let's put it in, let's see, and ask for ideas. I mean, it's amazing how good some of the ideas that come from it are. And then it's like, oh, that's a great idea. Can you make that? Can you like, what's the next step? It'll give you really detailed instructions too.
Yeah, like sort of finessing it, yeah, along the way. Yeah, I've had my own ups and downs with using it. Sometimes it's hard. I'm like, you aren't. I like, then I'm having like an argument with it. I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. I'm like, okay, I need to stop.
New thread.
New thread. Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also, I know one company that has virtual workers all around the world, and they wanted to have a showing on their website of everybody that works, but every photo looked massively different. So they used the AI system Headshot Pro, and they were able to streamline. Everybody just uploaded selfies of themselves, and then they were able to match everybody, all 30 employees, all the look and feel without having a photographer go to all of those locations. So there are some other tools like that too.
Interesting. Yeah, I've learned a lot so far today about just other aspects of chat and AI tools. I hope this webinar has been helpful for everyone. Any last minute questions for our panelists here? You can always reach out to them again, after the webinar. I don't know if you want to put up, if you have a screen with all of or you can just paste in your emails here. I will also put back in the chat the pilot program link in case you missed it. So you can check out their link there. And then in terms of CauseVox, if you are looking for a donation platform, again, you can reach out to us. You can book a demo with us, or you can email us at support@causevox.com. And we will be back next week with another webinar. Until then, I hope you all have a really wonderful day and week. And thank you again, Andrew, Chris, and Chris. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.